Okay, guys, when we were still in school, we were reading a lot of books by Mo Willems. And if we had been able to stay in school, we would have started reading books by our next author, which would have been Eric Carle. And Eric Carle is an author and an illustrator who has done lots of children's books. He is a painter and he likes using bright colors and writing stories about animals. So, if we had been in school, the very first book we would have read would have been this story, which I think you guys have all read before. It's called The Very Hungry Caterpillar, and the author is Eric Carle, like I just said. And I want you guys to remember that the author is the person who writes the story. They are the ones who have the pencil. They are the ones that write all of the words in the story. Eric Carle is special because he is the author of his stories as well as the illustrator for his stories. So he writes all the words and he does all of the pictures for the story. Usually we say the illustrator is the person who draws, but in this case, Eric Carle is a painter. He painted all of the pictures for his story. Okay, so he is an author and an illustrator, just like Mo Willems was an author and an illustrator. Okay, and the title of this story is The Very Hungry Caterpillar. Okay. In the light of the moon, a little egg lay on a leaf. And if you look at this page, something very special about Eric Carle books is usually when he draws a moon or a sun, he's always going to put a little face in it. So that's one way we know that we're reading an Eric Carle book. So on this page it said, in the light of the moon lay a little egg on a leaf. One Sunday morning, the warm sun came up and pop, out of the egg came a tiny and very hungry caterpillar. And like Miss Dominique said, you can see the little face on our sun, and that's one way that we know we're reading an Eric Carle book. So it said, on Sunday morning, pop, out of the egg came a tiny and very hungry caterpillar. He started to look for some food. On Monday, he ate through one apple, but he was still hungry. On Tuesday, he ate through 2 pears, but he was still hungry. On Wednesday, he ate through 3 plums, but he was still hungry. On Thursday, he ate through 4 strawberries, but he was still hungry. On Friday, he ate through 5 oranges, but he was still hungry. It's a very hungry little caterpillar. So on Saturday, he ate through 1 piece of chocolate cake, 1 ice cream cone, 1 pickle, 1 slice of Swiss cheese, 1 slice of salami, 1 lollipop, 1 piece of cherry pie, 1 sausage, 1 cupcake, and 1 slice of watermelon. That night, he had a stomach ache. You see all that food he ate? He's a very hungry caterpillar, but it gave him a tummy ache because you're not supposed to eat all that stuff. The next day was Sunday again. The caterpillar ate through 1 nice green leaf, and after that, he felt much better. So after his big feast, he ate through 1 leaf, and that made his tummy feel better. Now, he wasn't hungry anymore, and he wasn't a little caterpillar anymore. He was a big, fat caterpillar. He built a small house called a cocoon around himself. He stayed inside for more than 2 weeks, and then he nibbled a hole in the cocoon and pushed his way out. So our big, fat caterpillar was very full, and he made himself a little house called a cocoon, and he was inside of it for more than 2 weeks. And when he came out, he was a beautiful butterfly. Isn't that pretty? He turned into a beautiful butterfly. And that's the story of the very hungry caterpillar. And if Miss Dominique was to ask you about the setting of the story, which is where the story takes place, the caterpillar was outside, and we know the caterpillars live in trees and in the grass, so that would be the setting of our story. And if we were going to say what the characters were in the story, there was really only one character in this story. And we're going to remember that characters are people or animals in the story. So there was an animal in the story, and that was the very hungry caterpillar. He was the character for the story. So that is our book, The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle.